Hello, welcome to our midweek, bit late but still in the week in between the Sundays, our call to worship for this week. This is a thought presented to help your thinking towards the message that we'll share together this coming Sunday morning. So last Sunday we talked about the first miraculous sign of Jesus as he began his earthly ministry according to the Gospel of John. And if you remember, I mentioned that in the Gospel of John, there are not the same number of miracles that there are in all of the other Gospels. That John calls them signs rather than miracles. And this is not because they are different than miracles, but it's what John calls them. And it features very much in his Gospel. Through these signs, the disciples and those present when the signs take place, these very puzzling and extraordinary events, they're brought back to the first chapter of the Gospel of John. Through the signs, they see God's glory, and they have a progressive understanding of who Jesus is and why he has come. There are 7 miraculous signs recorded in John's Gospel, but there are 18 times where the word signs is used, often by Jesus. And each of these times is in connection with the people's response to Jesus, to what he is doing. In their looking for him, or looking for these signs, they're looking mostly to prove that he is from God or that he is not from God. So throughout the gospel, that as Jesus moves about teaching and traveling and interacting with the people, there are people looking for these signs. From the wedding onward, Jesus often confronts the crowds with their behavior. He says actually that they're looking for signs just for the signs. He says that they're looking for things to prove his authority for what he's doing and for what he's teaching. In John chapter 4, verse 48, he says, "Unless you see signs and wonders, you'll never believe." Some follow. Let's bring that forward. Some go to church, our day and age, because of signs they have seen or things they've heard of, not knowing for sure what has happened or how or why, or what it's all about. Some aren't even actually looking for reasons or the source of the signs. Now, the first chapter of John's Gospel hasn't been written yet in the biblical times for them, so they don't really know what it's all about. But we have this chapter. We have chapter 1. We have the possibility of knowing, of understanding, of grasping, of seeing his glory. Still, in the time of Jesus, and now, there are those who are just following because it's the thing to do. And Jesus says to them that they're not actually even interested in the signs or any of what it means. He says they just want what they can get out of it all. That's a very liberal paraphrase on my part, but I think it conveys the intent of the words of Jesus. And so the debate, all through the gospel, the debate follows Jesus everywhere. The debate enters the public forum. The debate, I'm sure, takes place in private conversations. And they're looking and they're talking and they're asking one another, is it real? How does he do that? What do we do with what we're seeing? Can we believe what we see? Some are drawn because of the signs. And some are repelled. They're afraid of the signs because they don't know what it means. Halfway through the Gospel, chapter 12, verse 37, we read, "Even after Jesus had done all of these miraculous signs in their presence, they still would not believe in him." This week we're going to look at the second of the miraculous signs of Jesus in the Gospel of John. It's found between the verses John chapter 4, verse 43 through 54. I'm going to repeat that. John chapter 4, verse 43 through 54. There'll be time for you to read that a few times, I think, between now and Sunday. It's about a Roman official, about his sick son. It's about Jesus. The man begs Jesus to come, and Jesus sends him home. As we prepare to look at that sign together, I want you to be thinking of something. I want this rattling in your minds between now and Sunday morning. And I want you to be ready with your answer on Sunday morning. Here's the question. If you were going to ask Jesus for a sign, for a miracle, what would it be? I'll see you Sunday morning at 10:30.